Ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure to welcome here in this Zoom interview Mr. Rami Aman from Gaza. Mr. Rami, or Rami, my friend, is the known activist, peace activist in Gaza who suffered about half of the year in prison, what is mentioned in the article. And in his talk and in this interview, uh, he shall give us some review about the life in Gaza, about the political situation and about the difficulties the Gazan people and Israelis people are meeting in this conflict. So I have a couple questions to Rami. And if I can ask you kindly, Rami, um, when did you move into Gaza with your family?
Thank you so much, my friend Miro, for this opportunity to speak with you and all. I was born in Algeria in 1981, and I grown up in Kuwait with my family until 1992 when we arrived here to Gaza, 2 years before Oslo Agreement. And we left Kuwait in that time because the situation after the Iraqi occupation over Kuwait, and when the Palestinian leadership is standing with the Iraqi administration, this kind of standing created for the Palestinians in Kuwait a new kind of bad atmosphere against them. So it wasn't a good place for any Palestinian in that time to live in Kuwait. So my father decided to return back to Gaza. And already we are Gazans. We are officially from Gaza Strip and living in Gaza City. So in 9th of October 1992, it was my first day in Gaza. After I spent, you can say, uh, 12 years or maybe 11 year and a half in Kuwait with good childhood, restaurant, playing, garden, with a very good community. For me, Gaza community in that time, seeing the Israeli soldiers, the Israeli tanks, it's a new kind of life. But for me, like any Palestinian, was abroad, seeing what happening in the media in that time, the first Intifada. I was full of power and coming to Gaza to liberate Gaza Strip and do what I can against this occupation.
So you came a young, enthusiast man to Gaza in 1992, and then you met the reality. So, and you mentioned Oslo Accords, I think 1994. And if you can elaborate what has changed uh, before and after the Oslo Accords in the Gaza Strip, how the situation evolved.
Let me speak about my story.
Yes.
Like any Palestinian, child, when and after my first day in Gaza here, I starting, to launch small rocks over the Israeli soldiers in Gaza's streets here, and the Israeli tanks at the media. But and it was lockdown, and it was some strikes. There was not a lot of killing. Maybe you can hear about a lot of Palestinians here in Gaza arrested by the Israelis, but maybe I never ever that a Palestinian killed by an Israeli soldier. Maybe just two or three or four per month, not that long number. And then 2 years later, we started to hear about Oslo Agreement meetings between Yasser Arafat and Ishaq Shamir and I think Bill Clinton in that time, yeah, the American, yeah, and Hosni Mubarak and everyone here in Gaza were happy that maybe we can have a country, maybe there is no occupation now. So I think it was in October 1994, maybe. when we were in the streets watching the Israeli soldiers, saying goodbye to us, and leaving Gaza Strip. It was, another kind of feeling that since days ago you were hating this soldier and Lance Rocks. Now you are saying goodbye to him, so it's it's another different kind of feeling. And then we followed the Oslo agreement, the Oslo atmosphere. For me, I'm full independent, so we are not following for any party, Hamas or Fatah. My father was working in the bank in Kuwait or in Gaza Strip here in Bank of Palestine. My mother is Algerian. My uncles and aunts like teachers, doctors, lawyers. So we don't have anyone following a local parties here. So this kind of growing give to me the chance to join this community or to grow up with the cultural ideas. So my family here in Gaza moved me to join YMCA, Young Men Christian Association, uh, when I was 13. So in that time, it was good to me, to meet a people like me because I came from Kuwait, not came from a close community like in Gaza here. And yes, it was good time. I was 15, 16 until 1999. I decided to study my baccalaureate degree in Egypt.
Mhm.
So I traveled from Gaza uh, until 2004. So I followed the second intifada when I was in Egypt. So it was a new kind of level for gardens here. And also for me, through my years in Egypt, I studied 5 years as electrical communication engineering. Every year I was visit Gaza here and meeting my family and also following the news until 2005. I returned back to Gaza. In that time, I was looking for a job like any graduate, and I found a job as a broadcasting engineer with the news agency. And this kind of work gave to me also a chance to be more close from the politics, from the leaders, from the people here, listening to them, knowing the reality, and creating the media. And in that time, my work also gave to me an important chances to following the Israeli withdrawal in September 2005, and then following the Palestinian election in 2006. And for me, it was very normal that most of the Palestinians in the Palestinian territories decided to vote to Hamas, not because they are supporting Hamas. I joined this election and I gave my vote for Salam Fayyad. Salam Fayyad, he was independent and he was talking about build the authority, build the organizations here. For me, for a citizen like me, yeah, I need this kind of community. I need this kind of country. But as I told you, most of people voted for Hamas, and also you should know that it's the second chance for the Palestinians to have election. We have an election in 1996, represented Yasser Arafat as a president for the Palestinian, and also represented the members for Palestinian Legislative Council. Most of them, or the majority, were Fatah members. And Hamas and Islamic Jihad in that time, in 1996, they decided not to join this election. And for me, I was 15 years old. I was just following the elections. And inside myself, I was, yeah, why I'm not vote for anyone. So I had this opportunity in 2006. And after that, in the first day after the results, George W. Bush, the president of United States, he didn't recognize the result of this election. Although that this election was very fair and there's no corruption, the result was super right, and it's the decision for the Palestinians. And also, if you review the years, before the election, 2005, 2004, in Yasser Arafat period, and when Mahmoud Abbas came as a prime minister for the Palestinians, and Condoleezza Rice and Colin Powell, and in that time, and most of the Americans, they made a lot of pressures over Yasser Arafat, over Mahmoud Abu Mazen to organize election. And then when the Palestinians succeed in making this election, you didn't recognize the result. So I think it's a big mistake from the American administration, because I was sure that the Americans in that time was sure that the strong party in the Palestinian territories is the Islamic Brotherhood, the Islamic parties, as any Islamic party in Egypt, in Tunisia. I think they are the strongest party in any community if we are thinking or talking about Islamic party. After this election, they created, two kind of leaders for the Palestinian. The PA, the previous leaders, and also now we have the majority in Palestinian Legislative Council from Hamas. And of course, we don't have any kind of awareness of respecting the result of elections as a Palestinian community. So the PA didn't recognize the winning of Hamas. And also Hamas was looking to, 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 to use their majority in Palestinian Legislative Council. And most of Gazans here standed with Hamas. As I told you, not because they are members in Hamas, but because they were suffering from PA regime, from Fatah regime, and they were looking for new faces. After that, in the period between 2006 and 2007, of course, all of the world heard about Shalit case, and then when the Hamas and Fatah securities started to fight in the streets, and for me also it was my first time to see an internal conflict. So you don't know where are the guns, around you. And in that time, I was working in the media with Russia Today satellite channel, with Rus اليوم, the Arabic channel of Russia Today, and other Russian channels, and Al Hurra and Egyptian satellite channels. So we were, as I told you, broadcasting stories here from Gaza until June 2007. It was so clear that there is fighting and there will be a winner in the end. And yes, it's happened. On 15th of June 2007, Hamas kicked the securities of Fatah and PA from Gaza Strip here, and we started a new round here in Gaza, controlled by Hamas. And after that, of course, you know that the Israeli administration, the American administration, and also the PA administration representing Gaza Strip as an enemy state, and we will make a blockade over Gaza, over and siege over Gaza. I don't know. Maybe they thought in that time that this kind of attitudes will make Hamas leave the government. But in my opinion, no. They gave Hamas a gold chance to lead and control Gaza Strip.
So, this was the takeover by Hamas on 15th of June 2007, when everything changed. And what do you think about the attitudes of Israel, United States, Egypt?
It was
The attitudes.
complicated in it was complicated in that time because it's a new kind of life, it's a new kind of culture. Years ago, you were controlled or leading here in Gaza from a liberation, from Fatah, and Fatah it's very open-minded. And now you are controlling by Hamas, and Hamas super Islamic-minded. So they started to make some change in the community here in Gaza, like covering hairs of girls and by orders, like following the uniform of the boys here in Gaza, following the hairstyle for the youth, and they said that shisha and smoking and all of these things are forbidden now, and it wasn't allowed for any couple to walk in the streets and they are not married. So, and in Gaza community, like any kind of community, there's boys and girls loving each other, and have some yani, stalling kisses away from everyone, like any community. But uh, it was a new kind of life. Gaza Strip, not like that. Not like, a community in a very bad Asians. No. So for me, it was like, okay, now it's very bad. Of course, this division will end soon, and the Palestinian reconciliation will happen, because it's very dangerous, to continue with with these leaders. This was my opinion inside myself, and the Egyptians just started to also to make a blockade over, or to close Rafah crossing after Shalit case, and after when PA leave Rafah and leave Gaza Strip. The Israelis, as I told you, made a new kind of siege, and this siege, I think, was over the people, not over the leaders, because Hamas and the BA, they are good in receiving and transferring money. There is no problem in money, but this blockade was very hard for the people here. And as you know, also in December 2008, it was the first Israeli operation over Gaza. And it was a very, very, very strong operation in that time. It was like, it resulted 1,400 Palestinian killed, most of them civilians. And at that time, I was in the streets seeing dead bodies in the hospitals, seeing destroyed homes and buildings, and I see the reality. There is no military, for example, places here, and I made many friends in that war. After that, in the beginning of 2009, I said inside myself, after this operation is end, that a lot of things will change now. The Palestinian reconciliation will achieve. The Israelis and the American will change their attitudes against Gaza, but nothing happened. For me, it was like a shock. Maybe if you are inside the situation, different than following the situation. Seeing dead bodies in the TV, not like seeing dead bodies in the streets. And this kind of moments maybe can create inside yourself a new decisions, a new experiences, a new plans for the future. So I was one from them, like this kind of moments created inside me a new plan. I was at 29 years old, working with Russia Today with a good salary, and but I choose to retire from my work, because I found that every media has an agenda, and every agenda feeding the conflict, and in the end, maybe I will be the next victim. And then I started to have requests from the securities here in Hamas. Hamas in that time was make like security check over everyone in Gaza here. And Hamas in 2009 thought that everyone, not Hamas, is Fatah. But the reality that the majority of the Palestinians here in Gaza are independent. Yani, I swear that maybe more than 75%, they are independent. They are not supporting the party. Maybe they are joining the parties because of some aids, because of some interest, because of some money, but not because they are believing in the goals of this party. And that time, the securities asked me that I'm too young, and I know And I have many foreigner journalists, came to me here in Gaza, and I working with them. They asked me about my stories, and if there is any kind of contact between someone in Ramallah or someone in Israel. I said no. And after that, I decided to create my plan. I found that no, I think we need to make some change in our community. We as people paying the price, and if we will keep silent now, I think we will be the next victim. So I started to build a plan or to build a team, looking for partners, and it was hard in the beginning, to start by yourself. It's hard to start in Gaza without a background of a good family, a strong family, or maybe if you are not following any party, it's hard to promote your voice. In Gaza Strip here, it's not like other community. No, you need to raise your voice by yourself. And because I missed the hope in that time, in the Americans and the Israelis and the Palestinians, and neither more Gazans were like me. Nobody care, so we should care about ourselves. And yes, for me, it was a new level of life. To start to work for my goal. Yes, maybe in the past I was thinking inside myself like anyone, to hoping to make any kind of solution or to find a solution for this conflict, but without doing any practical steps. Everyone here in Gaza or then in Israel or in the world, inside themselves, they are hoping or thinking, but there is nothing without doing, as I told you, practical steps. And I started, and yeah, it was a new story, another story. If you want me to continue, just tell me. But in that time, Gaza was under blockade. There is a big gap between the leaders of Gaza and the people in Gaza. The people in Gaza here started to go directly under the poverty line. The new leaders in Gaza started, to grow up financially. And every country in this region started to build relations with Hamas and with BA. Qatar, Turkey, Egypt recognized two kind of leaders for Palestinians, and I think this kind of recognition feeding the conflict also. So also I'm sure that some administrations in this world gave the supportive for Hamas, not financially. Let them control Gaza. Let them make what they want in Gaza. Let's follow them in Gaza. So in the end, I think they were like preparing a bomb for the future.
And could you, Rami, please comment? I am from Slovakia, from European Union, and the European Union attitude is to recognize Palestinian Authority only. So this means only Ramallah and some humanitarian projects which are going on for Gaza. If you could comment that attitude, please.
It started like that. PA were standing with the Palestinians here after creating the PA from the beginning. And after 2007, yeah, they were just visit Ramallah, and there were no projects, for Gazans here or any kind of European delegations that arrived to Gaza. But year after year, the Europeans started to change their attitudes against Gaza by send some European delegations here to Gaza, met Hamas, see the situation here in Gaza. And in the media, yeah, they were talking that they are supporting Palestinians, and they are calling for two states. But in the land, there is nothing. There is nothing helping you, to make this goal or to make what you are talking in the media to make it real. Uh, until now, now you can see the European delegations entering Gaza every day, and they have meetings with Hamas, with civil society, and they are doing a lot of projects, funding by millions of dollars, for youth, for women, for human rights, in desalination, environment. But just ask them if there is any kind of outcome. No. And I have a story with the EU and with this kind of foreigner organizations. After 2009, I visited a lot of offices here and NGOs who representing EU and representing UNESCO, and I asked them if there is any chance to join a program, make peace building between Palestinians and Israelis, and all of them kicked me out
Mm.
and told me that it's not a good time to speak about these projects. Uh, for me, it was like a strange, a strange answer, because you should make peace here in Gaza, and you are using money to make peace in Gaza, and you are using the words of democracy, peace building, human rights, and you get money to make this change here in Gaza, but you do nothing. Nowadays, the Europeans, as I told you, entering Gaza, meet Hamas leaders and meet civil societies. The result, zero. The Europeans should meet directly the beneficiaries, the people and the ground. The people in Gaza here, they are not dangerous. No, they are so cute and so kind, and if you are enter any home here in Gaza, even if they don't have money, they will invite you at least for a cup of tea, for a cup of coffee, for a drink. For me, it's another kind of corruption, because the Europeans should ask their governments where we send our money. Evaluate your projects. Just evaluate. Make some evaluation. You are sharing the corruption here with others, and yeah, it's very bad. It's another kind of European blockade over Gaza, because when the Europeans doing that here in Gaza and speaking against that in the media about their works here, I think no, it's they are not clear in that. The Europeans, I don't know if they know what is happening or not, but of course they know.
Okay, so this was the first part of the interview with Rami, who described his life and his attitude towards Gaza. Uh, next interview, in next interview, we will speak about Rami's activism in Gaza. So, and let me allow to end the interview and stop the recording. And thank you for your attention.